Brutal, guys. It was just brutal how Democrats just basically admitted their own defeat when their anti-Musk protests failed so epically. In fact, they were even refused entry at the USAID, the very agency that they were trying to protect. Can you believe this, guys? Even CNN couldn't hold back the laughs after seeing this. Even well-known liberal comedian Jimmy Kimmel admitted defeat when he saw just how cringe Chuck Schumer was during this whole thing. Now, as for billionaire Elon Musk, they just can't touch this guy. As he explained in a recent post on X, Schumer is mad that DOGE is dismantling the radical left shadow government in full view of the public. He says, "This is our one chance to return power to the people from an unelected bureaucracy back to democracy." Lastly, he added that only with the support of you can this succeed. So he says, "Thank you, unknown soldiers." DOGE's X account showed how the new government agency cut more than $1 billion from federal spending through now defunct diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and personnel. Yeah, guys, that's right. $1 billion saved, all thanks to cutting all these different DEI programs, including $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru, and $2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. DOGE caucus chair at the Senate, Senator Joni Ernst, said that the Democrats need to get used to this because they're going to find ways to focus our American taxpayer dollars on things that actually should be spent on, which is the American people and our interests. Meanwhile, Republican Senate leader Mitch McConnell made his own headlines when he fell yet again in the Senate after a confirmation vote for Housing and Urban Development Secretary nominee Scott Turner. Here's Mitch McConnell getting help with a wheelchair. So yeah, I really don't think that Mitch McConnell is going to be a whole lot of help to Democrats who are trying to go up against Trump and Elon Musk. This guy clearly can't even stay on his feet. You know what I mean? But let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, first, let's check out how these liberal shows are taking these Democrat protests. Here's them being refused entry to the USAID.
Hey, step out, make a line. Step out, make a line. Let's go.
Okay. Hi, Chris. Peace to meet you. Nice to meet you. Okay, so as you are aware, this agency is very busy currently, and they are not able to take a meeting currently. They advise that they will be in contact shortly, and that best to contact the Department of State at this time if you need any further comments.
Who is they?
The front office of the administrator.
So could I just ask, are you with AID?
I am.
Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for what you do.
They don't have the right to be disciplining people for political reasons, and they don't have a right to usurp Congress's rightful role to appropriate money. We've appropriated money for USAID to render service around the world in fighting disease and fighting corruption, in defending democracy. We know Elon Musk is not interested in that. Donald Trump is not interested in that. But that's what the American Congress has done.
That was Congressman Jamie Raskin talking after they were blocked from entering USAID. Just imagine if Kamala Harris won the election. Thank goodness we dodged that bullet, right? Even CNN couldn't help but laugh. Check this out.
Democrats agree that Musk is a problem, but listen to them today, and they have a piñata in search of a stick.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist!
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your asses.
We have days to stop the destruction of our democracy. We have work to do. Tell Elon Musk to take his hands off your money. We don't pledge allegiance to the creepy 22-year-olds working for Elon Musk. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
And goddamn it, shut down the Senate! We are at war!
We will win! We will win! We won't rest! We won't rest!
Gretchen.
Yes,
so
they need, the Democrats need a real leader, okay? They need a real leader, which currently does not exist in the Democratic Party. And they have been caught completely flat-footed with the entire Trump presidency for the last 2 weeks and Elon Musk. I said on CNN months ago that Elon Musk would be the most influential advisor to President Trump, and that is proving to be true, whether you like it or not. But Democrats should have had a plan for this. They knew it was coming. We say this every single night.
2025.
We knew it.
Just talked about.
We knew it. Trump has said all of these things were going to happen. We saw him align with Elon Musk, which may go down as the smartest thing that any presidential candidate has ever done, from the young vote to tech, to a million other things. So Democrats needed to have a plan, and it may be too late.
Yeah, Bakari, are you fired up after?
I'm fired up and ready to go. Can't you see it in my face?
Now, I swear, guys, Chuck Schumer was just so cringe there. But hey, who could blame them, right? These Democrats are literally panicking in the streets about their money laundering getting exposed by Elon Musk and DOGE. Like Jimmy Kimmel said on his show, they're effed. Watch.
But we are not going to sit back and take it. Our leaders on the left are going to stand up for what's right.
We are going to fight this fight. I am going to stand with you in this fight, and we will win.
We will win.
We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest.
Oh, we are so I mean, we are doomed. All these old men.
Now, of course, Jimmy Kimmel, he needs to stop acting like he's not a part of the problem. But then again, him admitting that they've lost all hope on their side, it's kind of like the cherry on top of this whole thing, right? Because yes, they are, as Kimmel put it, effed. Elon Musk, through their Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, is putting a stop to their gravy train. For one, Elon Musk just flagged what he called fraudulent treasury payments. He just posted on X. The DOGE team discovered, among other things, that payment approval officers at Treasury were instructed always to approve payments, even to known fraudulent or even terrorist groups. They literally never denied a payment in their entire career, not even once. But what are Democrats choosing to highlight? Oh, that the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent granted DOGE personal access to the payment system. I mean, isn't DOGE officially recognized by the president himself? Trump officially created DOGE via an executive order signed on the first day in office. The EO outlines that government agency chiefs provide DOGE with access to internal government platforms such as software systems and IT systems. So yeah, it's pretty freaking clear. Why aren't they like talking about these treasury payments instead, right? It says here, the Treasury spends roughly $6 trillion per year on payments for federal agencies. Now, just imagine how big of a part of that is going to fake companies, or even worse, terrorist groups. This is exactly what they've been promising throughout the campaign, that the DOGE team would weed out overspending and fraud within the federal government. Elon Musk said so himself during the campaign. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, well, that pretty much just increases the money supply. If the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services, well, that's called inflation. So for Elon Musk, really, we need to reduce our government spending, and we need to re-examine, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? There's also this. Since its official creation last month, DOGE's X account has provided updates on its work to cut government spending. Now, in this short period of time, they're already at a whopping $1 billion in savings for the American taxpayers just by cutting DEI initiatives and personnel. Wow, just wow, guys. The White House, together with Elon Musk, also identified the top U.S. agency responsible for what they're calling waste and abuse, the USAID. Now, as they said here, for decades, the United States Agency for International Development has been unaccountable to taxpayers as it funnels massive sums of money to this ridiculous and, in many cases, malicious pet projects of entrenched bureaucrats with next to no oversight. Now, this really makes me wonder. We've talked about it so many times, how many of these senators or congressmen and women that come into office broke and then they leave like millionaires. So who's to say that they didn't create like some fake company and have the USAID pay that company that they own, and that's how they became rich? Because if no one's going to check these fraudulent companies or terrorist organizations, who's to say that they're not paying themselves? I'm just saying, we got to look into this, guys. Anyway, the White House released a whole list, just millions of dollars for programs that were all about DEI. And at the top of the list was a $1.5 million program slated to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Siberia's workplaces and business communities, and a $70,000 program for a DEI musical in Ireland. Now, guys, I mentioned earlier the transgender opera and the transgender comic book, right? Well, it doesn't end there. Actually, there was also a $6 million agreement to fund tourism in Egypt, but really what really kind of got my blood boiling was how USAID actually provided millions of taxpayer dollars to EcoHealth Alliance for coronavirus research. The same thing that they used as a reason to keep schools closed and put vaccine into people's arms. So yeah, guys, this agency remains closed and in limbo right now. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he took over as the acting director. He said they're going to go through the same process at USAID as we're going through now at the State Department. And this is what the Democratic lawmakers were protesting on the streets, saying that the White House does not have the legal authority to dismantle an independent agency. Marco Rubio called it rank insubordination. He said that these protesters' basic attitude is they don't work for anyone. They work for ourselves. No agency of government can tell them what to do. Well, sorry to tell them, but I think Elon Musk and DOGE just did that. Drop a quick yes in the comments, guys. Hit the like button if you guys support this DOGE crackdown that's happening right now. And while you guys are at it, you can also subscribe to the channel and tap that notification bell for more updates like this one, all right? So stick with me, guys. We have a lot more to cover today. Now, unlike those Democratic lawmakers, some rational thinking lawmakers are actually celebrating USAID's shutdown. Senator Joni Ernst, DOGE caucus chair in the Senate, for one, described the USAID as wasteful and abusive. Here, watch this.
What's going on in Washington right now harkens back to your very first campaign ad where you talked about cutting pork. So here's some of the programs at USAID that the White House has got in its sights. $1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, inclusion in Serbia's workplace and business communities, $70,000 for production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. It goes on and on and on. Now, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, says there are a lot of good programs at USAID, but I don't expect any of those are what he's referring to.
Absolutely, John. And I have been on USAID's case for years now, going back several years, where I was trying to investigate the expenditures for humanitarian aid, primarily when it came to the war in Ukraine. And what my team and I encountered was absolute obstruction and lies coming out of USAID. They did everything possible to stop me from accessing their records to understand where our taxpayer money was going. I eventually partnered with Representative Mike McConnell in the House, and we started a formal congressional investigation. And even after that, they really pushed back, only allowed us access to a small amount of data. But what we found was extreme expenditures on the part of USAID with very little data-driven results. We have seen money funded in the Wuhan Institute of Virology through dollars steered by USAID on dangerous coronaviruses. We saw how that turned out. We've seen funding going to Morocco for pottery classes, tourism in Lebanon, of all places, even when the State Department was advising against travel. I could go on and on and on, John and Dana.
Senator Ernst said it, you guys. We don't need to be wasting money on ridiculous items like saying how fast shrimp can run on treadmills. The American people, they don't care about that. And why would we ever need to know? So get ready for disruption. Get used to disruption. And like the good senator said, let's get our federal government back on track and doing what we should be doing and not focusing on items of ridiculous ideology. And for whatever the Democrats are doing, Elon Musk himself said that hysterical reactions like this is how you know that at DOGE is doing work that really matters. Now, for the Tesla billionaire, this is the one shot the American people have to defeat bureaucracy, rule of the bureaucrats, and restore democracy, rule of the people. This after Chuck Schumer accused him of setting up an unelected shadow government that's conducting a hostile takeover, while other Democrats warned that DOGE was staging a coup. Now, Ernst is all for it. She's been a vocal critic of the USAID's wasteful spending for years now. For her, if it means ferreting out waste and fraud on behalf of Americans, then Elon Musk is doing a great job. Last but not least, former Republican leader Mitch McConnell, the guy who was the longest serving party leader in the history of the Senate, holding on to the position for 17 years. We know old Mitch McConnell is known for working with Democrats, even against Trump wishes. Well, they may not be able to count on him much longer as he just keeps having falls in the Senate. Just a few days ago, Mitch McConnell, he fell on a small set of stairs as he was exiting the Senate Senate chamber after a confirmation vote for Housing and Urban Development Secretary nominee Scott Turner. Understandable, considering that he's 82 years old and a survivor of childhood polio. He was quickly helped out by fellow Republican Senators Steve Daines and Mark Wayne Mullen, and his office said that the former leader appears to be okay, that the lingering effects of polio in his left leg will not disrupt his regular schedule of work. But we did see him using a wheelchair nonetheless. They say it's out of an abundance of caution. Now, one accident is unfortunate, but a pattern of falls like this is definitely worrying. Just a few weeks back in December, Mitch McConnell fell at the Capitol while leaving a Senate GOP luncheon and again was seen in a wheelchair afterward. Before the December incident, the leader was treated for a concussion after falling in 2023. That time, he fell at a hotel in Washington, D.C. The tumble resulted in fractures to his ribs as well. He also had two public episodes where he appeared to mentally freeze while addressing reporters. And it wasn't just a couple seconds, you guys. During one of those instances, Mitch McConnell was answering questions from reporters in Covington, Kentucky in August 2023 when he froze for more than 30 seconds. They were tempted to cut to commercial and then come back to see if he might have rebooted by then. No, I'm just kidding. But before that, the same thing happened. He froze for about 30 seconds during a news conference alongside with Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. a month prior. An aide said at the time that the Republican leader felt lightheaded and stepped away for a moment. Now, of course, Mitch McConnell at least had the decency to step down from his Senate leadership role when Trump returned. But still, the guy is staying on as senator until January 2027. I guess he's still just trying to collect those checks. It is free money for him, isn't it? I guess I just hope that he takes it easy. But the same with Democrats, because like Mitch McConnell, they've definitely seen better days, right? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys are thinking about what we talked about today. More on this and all the other current events in our next updates, guys. Appreciate you hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing. We'll see you next time.